You ever notice how government logic works? It's like someone put common sense in a blender, hit puree, poured it on the floor, and then called it a strategic plan. They don't solve problems. They manage them, they massage them, they rename them, but fix them? No! Fixing things would require competence, and the government won't tolerate that kind of behavior. They take something simple, like a fix the roads, and somehow turn it into a 900-page document, 3 committees, and a 10-year plan that results in a single orange cone on the highway. And they expect applause. They expect you to say, wow, look at that. The cone is reflective tape. We're progressing. Government logic is the only place where failure becomes a promotion. They screw something up so badly that the only possible solution is to put them in charge of something bigger. Oh, you lost $2 billion. Great, we're moving you to national budgeting. It's not incompetence. It's a career path. And the best part, they think you're the problem. They look at the public and go, if only these people would stop asking for basic functioning services, we could finally get something done. Government logic is the magical land where accountability goes to die, where excuses grow like wildflowers, and where nonsense isn't just accepted, it's policy. They love announcing something big and shiny. We're launching a new initiative. You know what initiative means. No, it means nothing is going to happen. But they want you to stop asking questions. And they'll decorate it with slogans and flags and speeches until you forget the original issue entirely. Government logic, where everything costs more, takes longer, does less, and somehow ends up being your fault. If the people ran their lives with the same logic the government uses, the entire planet would collapse by Wednesday. But hey, don't complain. They're working hard for you. And if you believe that, congratulations. You're already 99% nonsense yourself. Government incompetence is treated like achievement in a way that would be hilarious if it weren't so painfully real. In most parts of life, when you fail at something, you're expected to either learn from it, fix it, or step out of the way. But in the world of government logic, failure isn't a warning sign. It's a recommendation letter. You mess something up, perfect. They see that as experience. You waste money, even better. Now you've proven you can handle a bigger budget. You create a crisis, wonderful. Now they can trust you to manage the next one. It's almost like the government looks at incompetence the same way a talent show looks at potential. Oh wow, you managed to take a simple job and complicate it so much that nothing works anymore? Incredible! Let's give you a higher position so you can do that on a national level. And they don't even hide it. They'll proudly announce that someone who ruined one department is being promoted to oversee 3 more. They call it a leadership. Ordinary people call it what it really is. Nonsense. It's a strange system where the bar isn't low. The bar is buried underground. If someone in the government actually does something right, people are shocked. They treat competence like a solar eclipse. Rare, confusing, and slightly suspicious. But incompetence? That's the daily weather forecast. And yet the system rewards it as if it's the mark of a seasoned professional. If a politician mismanages millions, it's framed as an unfortunate oversight. If a public office fails to deliver a service people depend on, they explain it with terms like administrative delays, or structural challenges, or unexpected complications, none of which actually mean anything. They're just polite ways of saying, oh, we messed up, but please clap anyway. People outside the government don't get this luxury. If a chef ruins the food, he gets yelled at or fired. If a mechanic breaks your car instead of fixing it, you never go back. If a teacher doesn't know the subject, the school steps in. But in government, break something, and suddenly you're considered a strategic thinker. Fail at a project, and you're referred to as someone with experience navigating complex situations. Basically, incompetence becomes an achievement because the system is designed to protect itself, not to fix anything. It's almost comedic how predictable this cycle is. A scandal appears, the public gets angry, the government holds a press conference, and then the same people who caused the problem get put in charge of the investigation into the problem. Imagine a burglar being asked to examine his own crime scene. That's essentially what happens. And instead of being embarrassed by it, they wrap it in official language, turn it into a committee, and expect everyone to applaud. They act like they're doing something important when in reality they're recycling the same nonsense with new packaging. Government logic sees incompetence as a sign that someone is battle-tested. They assume that anyone who has created enough chaos must understand how the system works because they've broken it before. They don't promote the capable, they promote the familiar. They don't reward solutions, they reward survival. And the people who survive are usually the ones who know how to talk, not the ones who know how to fix anything. It creates a loop where nothing improves because the same people who failed yesterday are responsible for tomorrow. And the government treats it like tradition. This is how we've always done it. It doesn't matter that it doesn't work. What matters is that it keeps going. The system prefers predictable failure over unpredictable success. And that's why incompetence isn't just tolerated. It's institutionalized, celebrated, and strangely enough, promoted as if it were a qualification. Simple problems become expensive, endless, over-engineered disasters the moment the government gets involved, because the system treats complexity as if it were a form of intelligence. They can't just fix something in a straightforward, practical way. They have to surround it with layers of procedures, approvals, committees, consultants, subcommittees, and reviews. What starts as a clear problem becomes a bizarre maze where the solution gets lost somewhere between paperwork and a conference room. Governments don't actually solve problems. They process them until the public forgets what the original issue was. Take anything ordinary, building a bridge, repairing a road, installing streetlights. In the real world, these are manageable tasks. But in government logic, each step needs a study, and the study needs a study, and the review of the study needs a revision before it's approved for a reconsideration meeting next year. What should take a few weeks somehow becomes a multi-year saga that costs 10 times more than it should. And the people paying for it are always told the same thing. It's a complex issue. No, it's not. They make it complex so they can stretch it, confuse it, and fund it endlessly. Complication is the government's favorite hiding place. The more tangled the process becomes, the easier it is to avoid accountability. You can't be blamed for failure if no one can fully understand what's going on in the first place. They hide behind jargon like operational constraints, the budgetary realignments, and procedural inconsistencies, all of which mean absolutely nothing. These phrases exist only to distract the public from realizing that the government took a simple task and somehow turned it into a bureaucratic traffic jam. The cost of everything shoots up not because the problem requires it, but because the system feeds on inefficiency. Every extra layer of approval is a place where money is spent, and every added step is an excuse to hire more consultants or create another department. Nothing in government ever shrinks or gets simpler. It only expands like a balloon full of hot air. And every expansion comes with a price tag that the public pays without ever getting the benefit they were promised. What makes this even stranger is that people become so used to the government's over-engineering that they stop questioning it. They see a basic repair taking years, and they shrug because that's just how it is. The government breaks things slowly enough that people learn to accept it. They treat delay like a natural phenomenon, the same way people accept bad weather. But unlike weather, government dysfunction is intentional, manufactured by systems designed to keep problems alive so they can keep managing them. If the government were ever forced to solve things efficiently, half of its departments would disappear overnight. So instead, they create processes that guarantee long-term complication. A simple issue becomes a project. The project becomes a program. The program becomes an initiative. And eventually, the initiative becomes a permanent fixture of the system. All without delivering a clear result. The more tangled things get, the more the government insists that progress is happening. And the public stuck waiting is expected to believe that complexity equals competence, even when the results say otherwise. Public accountability is replaced with slogans and distraction, because the government figured out a long time ago that perception is easier to control than results. When something goes wrong, they don't fix the issue, they fix the message. They polish the language, rehearse the lines, and deploy spokespeople who specialize in saying absolutely nothing for several minutes straight, Instead of answering for failures, they create a performance that makes people feel like something is being done, even when nothing has moved an inch. It's not about honesty, it's about controlling the narrative. The system relies heavily on the idea that if you say something confidently enough, people will eventually stop questioning it. So when the government fails, they respond with press conferences, social media posts, banners, catchy phrases, new initiatives, and patriotic music in the background. They turn their weaknesses into marketing campaigns. They rebrand incompetence as effort, delay as strategy, and confusion as complexity. They know that people are more likely to remember a slogan than a statistic, and so they give the public catchy lines to repeat instead of actual solutions to examine. This is why every problem becomes an opportunity for propaganda. Instead of taking responsibility, they find a way to shift focus. If the roads are collapsing, they launch a campaign about infrastructure renewal. If public services aren't working, they introduce a modernization plan. If the economy is struggling, they announce a growth vision. It doesn't matter whether these initiatives achieve anything. What matters is that people hear the phrase and think something important is happening behind the scene. The government masters the art of distraction by feeding the public beautifully packaged emptiness. The public, overwhelmed by complicated issues and busy with their own lives, eventually gets tired of asking questions. This is exactly what the government counts on. If they stretch something long enough, people forget why they were angry in the first place. After a while, the frustration fades, replaced by resignation, and that resignation is the government's greatest weapon. When people stop expecting improvement, the government stops pretending to offer it. Distraction becomes the norm, and accountability becomes a relic of a bygone era. Whenever real scrutiny appears, the government simply throws another diversion into the spotlight. A new committee, a new task force, a new report coming in soon. Something to make people feel like answers are on the way. They might blame external forces, past administrations, global conditions, anything to avoid admitting failure. The trick is to keep the public chasing explanations instead of demanding results. And it works because every distraction is wrapped in official language that sounds reassuring, even if it's empty. Over time, this cycle creates a culture where nothing is ever directly addressed. Problems float endlessly without resolution, but they are always accompanied by a parade of speeches, flags, slogans, and grand announcements. This is how the government maintains the illusion of responsibility without practicing it. They create motion instead of progress, noise instead of solutions, and messages instead of accountability. The public is left with the feeling that something is happening when in reality, nothing is changing at all. And that's the punchline of the whole thing. A government running on nonsense, powered by confusion, protected by slogans, and celebrated for failures. They've built a system where incompetence is a resume, complexity is a shield, and accountability is a bedtime story they tell the public to help them sleep. The logic they operate on isn't just flawed. It's deliberately upside down, because the minute things start making sense, people might actually demand results. And that would be the real emergency. So here we are, stuck watching the same circus, listening to the same promises, paying for the same disasters, while the people in charge act like reality is optional. They treat the country like a badly run office party, too loud, too messy, and somehow still under control according to the guy holding the clipboard. The truth is, they're not interested in fixing anything. They're interested in surviving the next press conference, surviving the next election cycle, and surviving long enough to convince everyone that the nonsense is normal. If government logic were a product, no sane person would buy it. If it were a movie, critics would call it unrealistic. But because it's wrapped in authority, symbols, and official language, people accept it, tolerate it, and get used to it. And the government counts on that. They know the public has a breaking point, but they also know the public has a forgetting point. And as long as people keep forgetting, the nonsense keeps growing. So the message is simple. The system isn't broken. It's working exactly as designed. It's designed to confuse you, exhaust you, distract you, and convince you that there's nothing you can do about it. And once you understand that, you finally see the joke. The problem is you're not supposed to laugh. But with government logic running at 99% nonsense, Sometimes laughter is the only sane response left.